Hi everybody, and welcome back to my garden. This is Mike and I'm in Zone 9B, Tucson, Arizona. Welcome back to Cacti, Mountains, Flora, and Fauna. It's about 7:30 a.m. It's about 75 degrees, and I promised everybody that I would do an update May video to kind of show the new growth in the yard. So here we go. Please enjoy. Over here we have our leftover vegetables and a couple of flowers. Our garden wasn't big enough to hold all the plants, so I pulled out my bags and I planted cucumbers and a zucchini. And these are looking pretty good. The growth is doing well. We're getting lots of buds, but they are a little yellow, so they look like they need a little iron. So I will do that later this afternoon. Walking over here, our rose bushes are now doing well. They do need to be deadheaded. I've got a pretty red and pink rose here. These are not in bloom right now because they get mostly shade, but they did bloom about 2 months ago. This side gets more sun, so they still have blooms, but as you can see, I need to deadhead them as well. There's a nice red. This one here, it's interesting, nature taking over. This is a white rose and a yellow rose. So it's 2 in 1. There's Sedona, and there's a nice red one as well. These are my yellow bells. This is the area in my yard I keep talking about with the dog. And as you can see, I've got some fencing down for the dog to try to keep her out from digging. But these yellow bells on the last video you saw were cut down to the ground. They're already about 2 feet tall, 3 feet tall, and they'll get to be taller than the shed. Big, beautiful yellow bell flowers. All the bushes are holly bushes. These two I planted at least 5-6 years ago, and although they've grown a couple of inches, they don't grow much, and I'm not sure why they're not catching up with their older plants here. This one and the one in the corner have been in the ground for like 30 years. There's Sedona again. Hummingbird and butterfly garden is doing extremely well this year. Really excited. Got lots of wonderful plants in here. We've got yellow bells, Baja fairy dusters. We've got globe mallows. And we've got butterfly, guerreras, coral honeysuckles, firecracker plants, emu plants, Cape honeysuckle plants, monkey flower, it's doing really well. Again, the growth is fantastic, and before the end of the summer, these will be 4 to 6 feet tall. The lawn is really struggling this year. I think part of it has to do with our dog. She loves to dig, as I said in the last video. And we've got a lot of bare spots that I'm trying to patch and repair. But the color's looking really good. It needs to be mowed and raked. And I need to continue working on the bare patches. Arizona orange tree. It's looking pretty good this year. Our star jasmine, our fruit trees. This first one is the grapefruit tree. Second one in the back there is a tangerine tree. And there's the dog. She loves to go racing back in there. These plants are the salvia that I cut down for the very first time all the way to the ground. And I did that this year because we did have the house painted. It was easier for the painters to get to the house. But you can see all the new growth. And now you can see the individual plants. But by the end of the summer, these will all merge together into a nice hedge again. But there are 1, 2, 3, 4 bushes all there. It's a rock collection, boulder collection. Here's our cactus collection. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. Very nice morning. You can see now that our doors have been painted and the house has been painted, but we've pretty much put everything back. Everything looks really good. Here's our bonita ash. Here's our Swan Hill olive. Fruitless, obviously. This was cut back severely. This is our Japanese jasmine. So I've got 2 jasmine in the yard, a star jasmine and a Japanese jasmine. On the last few videos, I've been calling my other vines on the east side of the house jasmine vines. And I was quickly corrected that they weren't jasmine. Now, we used to have jasmine over there for about 20 years, and then they died, and I planted new vines in its place, and I just kept calling them pink jasmine, and they're not pink jasmine. But we'll get to those in a minute. This is the little garden I planted about 2 years ago. And this truly attracts the pollinators and the butterflies. I just wanted to get more of those pollinators here closer to the garden so that we'd be more successful with the vegetable garden. But as you can see, we've got milkweed in here. We've got lavender in here. We've got garlic in here. We have mist flower in here. We have ice plant over here around the corner. And several other plants. Lungwort, bindweed, they all start hiding. Okay, I'm going to give you a quick view of the vegetable garden this year. Now this looks a lot different than it did the last time. Here are our tomato plants. I've got 3 tomato plants in here, and I decided to grow them a little differently this year. They're a little closer together, and I've got them in these supports. One is a cherry, one is a beefsteak, and a red beefsteak, and then one is a yellow tomato. But we're finally getting some nice flowers on those. Mixed down in here, we've got against the wall, we have 2 pepper plants. I'll get a close up so you can see the actual peppers on them. They're doing really well. It's the best peppers we've had in years. Over here are my beets. Now, interesting story. I planted these beets as a winter crop, and they grew but never developed any beets. So they were doing so well that I decided to leave them and see how they did through the springtime. And they're getting better and better. The beets are now starting to come out of the ground, get ready to pick. But first year doing beets. I don't even like beets, but my family does, so I decided to grow them, and they did really well. Here's a couple of more pepper plants. They're not doing as well as the 2 over on the left. The 2 on the left were green peppers. These are red peppers. We've got a zucchini growing over here. Nice big, couple of big flowers. A couple more zucchini and cucumbers growing over here. So everything's alive, doing really, really well. I planted some flowers, keep the pests away. That seems to be working really well. And these monstrous items are Romanesco. And this was the first year I grew them. Again, this was another winter plant that was supposed to grow and produce in the winter. But very slow growing. It grew all winter long, and it's now just starting to produce the vegetable, Romanesco, which is similar to broccoli. I'll get some pictures here of them. I already picked one giant one, but look at that. It's excellent. You roast it with butter and garlic. And I've got one there. That's number 2. We got another one growing in there, and another one growing in there. So this year, I don't have as many spring vegetables because I've got 2 huge portions of winter vegetables. And they're doing so well, I wasn't going to pick them. But the garden looks great. As you can see, I'm using my hay as a ground cover or a mulch. And again, I'm still using the same hay that I bought from a couple of years ago. And it has grass seed in it, and so the grass seed weeds are growing. Here's my Italian oregano that this was half the size about a month ago, and it's growing already. These plants here, I cut down again because we painted our house. And again, these were cut down to the ground and just bare items, and look at the beautiful growth on them. I would say about 99% of the plants that I do put in our yard grow back every year from new wood. So when they freeze back or die, the new growth comes from underneath. I can cut them back, and we're doing well. Now these are the vines I was talking about that I was calling pink jasmine. And I guess what confused me is that I've got 3 plants here. 2 are very old. One is just a couple of years old. and one is very, very pink. So I thought, oh, pink jasmine. And I was wrong. They're the same plants, just two different varieties. So I wanted to make sure that I told everybody that, because everybody was getting confused. And while I was calling them that, here's the second one. These do have beautiful blooms on them and a wonderful smell. And these are honeysuckle vines. Not jasmine, but honeysuckle. Two different varieties. This one's more pink, different leaf, growing a lot slower. Those two over there. I didn't break down the names of what variety. One is just considered, I think this one's considered a coral. I may be wrong, don't hold me to it, but I think this may be the coral honeysuckle. And these other ones are the regular honeysuckles. Here is the desert or native garden. It's doing well. I redid the stone, redefined the areas. We've got 3 or 4 different kinds of grasses in here. A beautiful yucca. A couple of cactus. Doing well. Here's our wonderful dog. She's been a blessing, but she's also been a curse. And for any of you that have puppies under 2, you know what I'm talking about. Nice view of the wash and the sun coming up. You can hear all the birds chirping and the dogs barking in the neighborhood. We still haven't filled our bird feeders yet because of Sedona. We're in the front yard right now. You can see we painted our gate. This is the area where I threw tons and tons of wildflowers this year. Did them very early, watered them every day, and basically I got 3 plants out of it. This is a globe mallow. I forget the name of this plant next to it. And we've got this little one that looks like a weed down here next to the pole. Everything's growing back. We did pull the one plant that died. This is the red bird of paradise. The blooms are just starting to come. Again, this is the western or southwestern version bush or plant, not the Caribbean type of bird of paradise that people are used to seeing. Our aloe is huge. I think it's probably going to bloom its stalk and then die like it's supposed to do. But this thing is huge. Doing well though. Texas Ranger, cut that down to the ground. It is doing really well coming back. The Hesperalo, or the red yucca, or the hummingbird plant is doing incredibly well. It's huge. With these small front yards, you get these plants and they just overpower the front yard. The barrel, the paddle, the Mexican primrose. I wasn't able to get out here and show you the Mexican primrose. It was probably about 2 feet taller and covered with flowers. I just couldn't get out here in time. Here's a new plant I planted. Purple. Over here, the yellow bird of paradise. Look at all the beautiful buds coming on it. These make beautiful hedge plants, divider walls between the property. This one's got a lot of beautiful flowers on it. I've got 4 of them. They're all doing really well. Again, cut these down to the ground. And look what I see. People are talking about the Mexican bird of paradise being evasive. What's truly interesting is that these things will pop up 5-10 feet away from the actual plants. And this year I just noticed we've got some growing under our yellow bird of paradise. I don't know if you can see that or not. Those are all the underground vines. So you gotta keep on them because they do spread. That's the whole point. They are ground cover and they're supposed to spread. I think there's more on the other side of this plant. We have some lantana in the yard. This is actually Russian sage that is supposed to grow upright and is spreading like a ground cover. And mixed in it is the Mexican primrose. The purple one over there is a lantana as well. And then people looking at this plant probably think this is more Mexican primrose, but it's not. It's actually lantana. You've got to come in here and pull the Mexican primrose. I want the primrose to grow in the front yard around the plants in the yard, just not in them. My neighbor's yard, they've got some yellow lantana and they have a huge, just self-seeded itself a tobacco plant. You can see parts of the house that we painted. Came out really nice. There's our front door. Our formal living room bay window. I don't know if the glare is there, you can see it or not, but I let Sedona in and there she is looking out, wanting to come out with me. It's a nice quick look at the house. Okay, that's my quick 20-minute video. Have a good day. See you on the next one.